My greatest fear is helping someone become comfortable in the church while they never truly encountered Jesus. That keeps me up at night. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Gonzalez podcast. This might be the episode I've been looking forward to the most because today I'm going to talk to you about my new book, Discipling Sinners. I've enjoyed our series on the author's angle, where I've interviewed several different Church of God ministers who have recently put out a book. I like talking to them about their books because I know what it's like to have something burning in your soul. And so all of them, I have purchased their books. If I haven't read it all, I've read very large portions of their books, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed talking about it. I've enjoyed listening to their passion when they speak about it. But today it's my turn. This book released, I don't know, a week and a half ago. It is available on all platforms. It's available on Amazon. It's available on barnesandnoble.com. It's available on Apple Books. It's available on Kindle, walmart.com. I've got it everywhere. And if you're local, I want to stress that I do have physical copies that I would love to give to you. If you want to just hit me up and connect with me, then I will make sure that you get your copy. Listen, guys, this has consumed me for 3 years, a burden of my heart. Discipleship is a burden of my heart, and not just discipleship. I want to disciple people biblically. And this book is an expression of a concern. I feel like I've identified a problem in the church. And this is not an attack on the church. It is not aimed at any one denomination or one movement, and you'll see that in the book. Listen, I love the church. I love everything about the church. I know we're not perfect, but there is no other group in the world that I would rather be a part of than the Church of Jesus Christ. And when I say church, I'm talking capital C church. I'm not just talking about my tribe or my expression or my preferences. I'm talking about the church that Jesus died for, the church that he said the gates of hell will not prevail. I believe I was 11 years old when my mother came to church with two little baby carriers, me and my twin brother, and we were introduced to the greatest movement known on earth. My entire life has revolved around the church. My schedule, my finances, my time, my energy, my passion, it's all been directed to the church. I was, people talk about they don't need the church to have a relationship with the Lord. Then whatever you want to say, whatever makes you feel good. I'm going to say this really clearly. I need the church. I need fellowship. I need accountability. I need the love of my brothers and sisters. I need to parse the word of God with other people. I need the church. And I can tell you right now, you can stay home all you want to. I called a cousin of mine one time. I won't say his name here on the podcast, but I asked him where he was going to church now. And he said, Bedside Assembly. And I said, really? Where's that at? And he said, right by my bedside. Let me tell you. I was saved in church. I was sanctified in church. I was filled with the Holy Ghost in church. I've been healed in church. I've been encouraged in church. There's times I didn't think I could go any further in life, but it was the church that lifted me back up. I love the church. And so this is not an attack on the church. This is a call higher for ministers and leaders to do everything we can to focus our attention on biblical discipleship. And so for the last 3 years, it's been mulling in my mind. It's been doing cartwheels in my soul. This issue that I feel like the Lord has revealed to me just through experiences. I feel like I have observed something that is worthy of consideration. We are very good at teaching people how to fit in, how to fit into church culture, how to embrace our preferences. I've seen this in fundamental churches that I've been a part of. I've seen this in contemporary churches that I've been a part of. And I wonder, have we become equally good at leading them to a genuine surrender, a point of surrender to Jesus Christ, where we surrender our will, we surrender our way, we surrender our heart and our mind? And so that's the passion of my heart. And I pose the question in the book: is it possible for someone to become an excellent church member without ever becoming a disciple of Christ? They show up, they do the things, they serve in our worship teams, they make the coffee, they work the parking lot, they blow the leaves, they get water for the pastor when his voice sounds scratchy. They're model church members. They show up, they pay their tithes. When VBS comes around, you can count on them. When a water line breaks in the churchyard, they're the ones digging it out. Is it possible to be a great church member but not be a disciple of Christ? So there's a tension here, because whether we realize it or not, there is a difference between church culture and Christ. Church culture is not bad, but it's not Christ. Sometimes we feel like our preferences are the definition of holiness. They're not. That's why some groups prefer certain music. And if you sing any kind of music that's different than that, then you're in trouble of hellfire. That's why some people, I was a part of a group where facial hair was a big thing. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but I noticed when I went to other countries in the same movement, facial hair was not an issue. But we've made our preferences a standard of holiness. We've made our preferences in the contemporary church of serving and different things. We've made that a measuring stick, and it's just not. We are excellent at teaching people church language. We teach them how to dress. We teach them how to volunteer. We teach them how to serve, how to worship, how to do the things, how to talk, how to post on social media, how to fit in. But are we teaching them to deny themselves? I talk a lot about marketing the church. We market all the positive things of the gospel. We don't market the difficult things. We don't market the fact that Jesus said, love your enemies as yourself. Look, this is an honest question that a lot of people ask, so I don't say this to degrade anybody, and my church knows that I love them with all my heart, and I would never embarrass anybody. That's not the point of this. But somebody asked me the other day, do I actually have to love Muslims who want to destroy us? And I said, yes. And I had three people in the crowd that have faithfully, valiantly served our country in conflicts where it was Islamic armies who were trying to kill them. And I had to say, yes. Yes. But it's not easy. I know it's not. No, nobody said any of this was easy. Comparatively speaking, it's easy. Let's remember the way of the transgressor is hard. It's not, but serving the Lord is about self-denial. It's about an invitation to come and die. And so are we teaching people to deny themselves? this conversation we had in this Bible study, we definitely had to wrap our mind around this fact that we got to deny our sentiments here. I understand people want to kill us. People want to destroy us. Death to America. But Jesus, who was actually in the process of being killed himself, said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And so this is the heart of the issue. Jesus didn't say, come and join my team. He didn't say, come and let me enhance your life. Let me come and help you do the things that you're wanting to do. No. He said, follow me. We want Jesus to follow us, but Jesus said, follow me. Let me tell you something. We go to the farmer's market every Saturday. It's just something our family does. I love it. I'm very busy throughout the week. I've got a lot of irons in the fire. And Saturday mornings, that's our time. It's my time to be with Haley. She is a dietitian who's passionate about she's passionate about food, passionate about eating right and eating healthy. And the farmer's market is something important to her. And I like to participate in things that she's passionate about. And so going to the farmer's market, I know that may sound crazy, but it's a really special time for our family. And we get all of our vegetables there every Saturday morning. And then we take a little walk. We take a walk down to a little coffee shop on Valley Street, owned by a pastor in this town. And it's called Washita Outfitters, or Outfitters Coffee. They're a bike shop too. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but shout out to them if you're ever in Hot Springs. It's a great little spot. We walk down there and walk through a park to get there, get our little coffee, we drink, and then we get up and we walk back to our car, which is parked at the farmer's market. While we're walking, Croy, my 3-year-old, sometimes wants to get out of the stroller with his sister, and he wants to walk. Let me tell you what Croy is not doing. He's not leading the way. We're not going where he wants to go. We're not turning left when he says to turn. I'm not there to follow Croy. Croy is going where I want to go. And sometimes in our Christian walk, we are extremely passionate about Jesus being with us. But sometimes it doesn't click in our brain, in our mind, that the best way to stay with Jesus is to follow him. Because he's not, let me say this really clear. He's not asking our opinion. He's not asking our opinion. He looked at the disciples, as he called them, and he said, follow me. And so when I talk to people as an evangelist, somebody who wants to see souls saved and come into the kingdom of God, I had to change my language a little bit. When I was in California, and I consider myself somebody who really tries to focus on being a soul winner. So I'm not afraid to talk to anybody. I am not afraid to talk to anybody. And in California, I would ask a simple question. Hey, are you a Christian? And it was very common for somebody to say, no, I don't want anything to do with that. And it was an open door to a conversation. When I got to Arkansas, the answer was always yes. Are you a Christian? Yes. How about you? Are you a Christian? Yes. How about you over there? Are you a Christian? Yes. Where you go to church? I don't go to church. When's the last time you? I don't know. Are you a Christian? Yes. And I saw my mission field just get really narrow because I couldn't find anybody that wasn't a Christian. And so, in an attempt to widen my field, my mission field, I started asking a different question. I started asking, are you following Jesus? That invoked a different answer. Are you surrendered to the Lord? That That sparked some thought. Let me think about this before I answer. And it expanded my field. I was able to share the true gospel of Jesus Christ with a lot of people who were saying they were Christians. And I exposed the fact that maybe they were unconverted disciples. And so, in this exploration of what I call in the book unconverted disciples, I asked the question, can somebody be active in the church and still be lost? And so I ask you these questions now. Is serving evidence of salvation? Does singing on the worship team mean that somebody knows Christ? Can someone preach and still not know Jesus? What did Jesus mean when he said, I never knew you? Talking to a group of people who said, we've cast out devils in your name. We've healed the sick in your name. They had this laundry list of things that they had done for the Lord. And Jesus looks at them and says, I don't know you. They were unconverted disciples. Judas served. Now, I don't know if Judas was an unconverted disciple or if he was a backslid disciple. I don't know. That's not for me to say. But there's precedence in somebody who was actively working in, quote unquote, the church, in Jesus' circle, and being far from him, being used of the devil. In John 6, we see that disciples are walking away from Jesus. And so those passages, they kept bothering me. They kept bothering me. Let me tell you what my biggest fear as a pastor is. It's not having a small church. It isn't struggling financially. It isn't criticism. Lord knows I've had plenty of criticism in my life. A lot of it self-inflicted. My greatest fear is helping someone become comfortable in the church while they never truly encountered Jesus. That keeps me up at night. Church activity can become a camouflage. Church involvement can hide an unconverted heart. And let me tell you, I don't think that this is happening. I don't think this is happening like nefariously. I don't think us church leaders are just sitting around thinking, how can I get people to be included and involved in the church without being saved? I don't think that's what we're doing, concocting a plan for this. But let me tell you something. There's pressure. There's pressure as a pastor. There's pressure as a church planter to grow a church. You know what? Really good music in a church makes me look good as a pastor. It makes things easier for me. If there can be an atmosphere of worship before I preach, that's really the talented people who, execute the ministries of the church flawlessly. Man, that makes me look good. People who are, affluent, that makes the church look good. Affluent people like to go to church with affluent people, whatever. And so there's this pressure on me as a pastor. I'm a church planter. That's all I've ever known. My dad was a church planter. I served with him my entire childhood. I helped plant a church when I moved from California to Arkansas in 2006, and now here I am planting a church again. I'm a church planter. You know what people like to ask me? How many are you running now? That's the question I get. And that's fine. I understand that. I'm often wondering how many a church is running of my contemporaries. But they're not asking how many people are reading their Bible that have never invested time in the Word. How many people have laid down vices and been victorious over the last few weeks? How many people are spiritually healthy? How many disciples are coming to your church? Don't ask that. Ask, how many are you running? What are you guys doing? Are you growing? And so there's this pressure. There's this pressure on us to grow. And I want to grow. But the pressure brings a temptation for me maybe to use people who aren't ready to be used. Maybe we as pastors, we put people on the worship team because they're very talented, but they're not saved. We put people on the finance committee because they've run successful businesses, but they're not saved. We've got people running small groups because they have big living rooms, but they're not saved. And it's this pressure. Several months ago, had a young man come to church. He came several services. I knew that he's a pretty good bass player. I'd heard him play. I knew nothing about his relationship with the Lord except that I thought maybe it wasn't a priority in his life. On a Sunday morning, the drummer calls in sick, and so I shift my bass player to the drums, and in walks that young man. He knew all the songs that we were going to play that Sunday, and I thought, I need to get him up here. And the Lord spoke to me while I was sitting at the piano and said, "This is your book." And I thought, "You're right. I think we're going to have to do without a bass player this morning." What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Are we developing disciples? And so let's talk briefly about what genuine discipleship looks like. It doesn't look like perfection. It looks like transformation. Listen, I've got folks in my church, and they'll be the first ones to tell you, perfection is not our strong suit, but transformation is. And I don't look at where people are. I look at what direction they're headed. I can honestly say that. That's where I'm looking. What direction are they headed? Are they getting closer to the Lord? Are they digging deeper in his word? Because I just know that the closer you get to the Lord, the more you become more like him. And I'm not so concerned with people becoming like me, like my church culture, like my preferences. I'm concerned with people becoming like Christ. And so I was sitting in a drug rehabilitation center one morning, and I was teaching the guys just some Christian principles on how to look at life, how to survive in this world. And I made the simple statement that we need to be like Jesus. One guy piped up from the couches and said, "Preacher, you know I can't be like Jesus." And oh man, everybody laughed. And I'm sitting here groping for an answer. And when the laughter subsided, I said, "Well, can you be more like Jesus today than you were yesterday?" It was silent for a minute. And then he said, "You know what, preacher? I think I can." And I said, "What about tomorrow? Do you think you can be more like Jesus tomorrow than you are today?" He said, "I think I can do that too." And that's what discipleship is all about. It's teaching us to be more like Jesus. And so the question we have to ask ourselves as leaders is the things that we're doing for discipleship, is it making people more like us or more like Christ? This book isn't asking whether churches should disciple people. We all know that churches should disciple people. The question is, what are we discipling them into? Are we discipling them into church attendance, into volunteerism, into a denomination, a personality? Or are we discipling them into complete surrender to Jesus Christ? And the complete surrender to Jesus Christ, is an ongoing journey. I've never met somebody that's completely surrendered. Now, I've had people tell me they were, but I've never met somebody that's completely surrendered. We do that daily. That's why Paul said, "I die daily." And so if this conversation here raises questions for you, that's why I wrote this book. That's the burden behind this book. What are we leading people into? I don't claim to have every answer. I really don't. But I believe these are questions that the church we just cannot afford to stop asking. And so I leave us with this. Can someone love church and still not love Christ? Have we confused participation with regeneration? Are we producing volunteers faster than disciples? And is our definition of success, is it biblical or is it cultural? Those are the questions we have to ask ourselves. Now, what this book did for me, and I think any author, any nonfiction author for sure would share with you, writing changes you. And this has changed me. It has made my entire ministry focus to be placed on growing healthy Christians. Healthy dads, healthy moms, healthy children that make healthy homes, that in turn makes a healthy church, that makes a healthy denomination, that makes healthy communities and a healthy world. This is a gentle call to us. I'm talking to myself as well. Church leaders, let's acknowledge that true discipleship begins with surrender. Discipling Sinners. Go buy the book. I appreciate everybody that's purchased it already. The feedback I've gotten has been humbling, to say the least, and I think this is going to help some people. So, again, all platforms. I'm going to link the Amazon link in the comments. Guys, hey, thank you for listening. Keep liking, sharing, and subscribing to this podcast. It's helping me a ton. I appreciate everybody and your support. God bless you. I'm headed to GA, General Assembly, in 2 days, and I cannot wait. We'll see you soon.